Hey there, YouTubers. All right, another SAMA case here, another mid-tower. This is the SAMA line ARGB, and if you checked out my other video, we did the SAMA Z3, which I gave it very high scores just through the unboxing. Eventually we're going to do a review on it, of that one. This is the unboxing for this one. And eventually I'm going to actually do two videos. I'm going to compare this to the SAMA Z3 and then also have a review video on it. But so here's what you get with it. 2X hard drives, this 3.5 inch variety. Room for 3 2.5 inch SSDs or hard drives. Comes with one USB 3.0. Can handle, looks like a 320 millimeter VGA graphics card, CPU cooler 160 millimeter capable, and cable management 21 millimeter. Not sure what that one means. This is made in China. So we talked about a bunch of this stuff, and I'm going to get it open, and I'm just going over this in case I forget something. Net weight, so after I get out of the box, 4.4 kilograms times 2 is about, what, 9.6 pounds? I'm not going to try and do the math on the millimeters to inches here for y'all. And I think we have covered just about everything except where are the overall dimensions. Does not say. So let me go ahead and get this open. Let's get into it. See what we got. So there's a little damage to my box on the top, just so you see it. And hopefully there is no damage to the case itself. I really don't think the FedEx, maybe the UPS guy, likes me very much. Maybe it's because I get too much stuff. This actually, UPS delivered this. They don't knock on the door, let you know the stuff's here, even when it's raining out. FedEx is just as bad. Part of it, I think, is my driveway. My driveway's a little too long. So behind here, we actually have two computer cases, and part of that's also to block what else is on the counter behind it. But we'll put these side by side. And then, like I said, there's going to be a comparison video between this and the Z3. So make sure, if you're interested in one of those, that you check out that video. It will most likely be stellar, I'm sure. Alright, so we got, you know, I gotta say, SAMA does do a decent job of packing the boxes. Of course, this is coming all the way from China, so they better take care of this stuff, right? Alright, so we got the plastic wrap. Hopefully we're still in frame. So this is the SAMA Z3. This is a do-it-yourself PC. I brought the other one out because it's a little bigger, just so you can see it. And I'll tell you what, this one actually is bigger too. So where the Z3 I felt was somewhere between a mid-tower and a mini-tower, this one is looking like it is definitely full tower all the way. Now, let's start with the front so you guys can see what it looks like. And I'm going to get this box out of the way so I don't trip over it. And check our camera, make sure it's looking good. I'm going to change the angle of the light for y'all. Might look better at this angle. There we go. Alright, so this is not quite what I was thinking it was going to be, but alright. So on the front we've got a pretty nice smooth plastic face to it. The SAMA nameplate on the front, and that is not sure how that's on there. Must be painted on. You know, on the other one, I think I had some complaints about the edges were kind of pointy. So this has actually got a chamfer to it here. Slight round around the corners of the plastic. And the back also keeps this chamfer. So, you know, these are available at the same time as the Z3, but it's funny that I get this one and my complaints are eliminated from that standpoint. Power button, like I said, two USB 2.0s, a USB 3.0. Hard to see these. Headphone, microphone. This is probably your LED button, letting you know it's on. This is probably the hard drive. It's kind of hard to see. And this is your RGB light strip. So in the front here, RGB light strip right there, okay? So that's going to look cool lit up once we get something in. All right, let's look at the top. Magnetic dust filter. All right, I'm assuming it's magnetic. There you go. So that's what it looks like below. And you can get two, probably 220 millimeter fans in there. That's kind of standard on top for these good cases, right? All right. We're going to take the tempered glass off in a bit, but let's take a look at it now. That is real tempered glass, not some acrylic crap. All right. So obviously you can shatter this, so you got to be careful. Take a look at the back. Here's your back side. I'll go ahead and talk about the back while we got it. Obviously you're going to see the back of your power supply. This is ATX, so it's going to have 4 machine screws in it. Here are your aluminum, excuse me, these are steel. This is steel frame. I always want to say aluminum because it's so, always feels so chintzy and thin. All right, so these are the steel covers, and with a little cyclic stress, basically bending it back and forth, these will break off. Okay, in case you're first time computer builder, that's how you get these out. Sometimes they give you a spare, we'll see, to replace, you know, some of the ones that pop out. Here is probably an 80 millimeter fan, and I believe this lights up. Not sure, but hopefully it does. And this is obviously where your back of your motherboard is going to be, where your input, you'll have an input output shield here, or heat shield. And they've done a good job of machining this. Sheet metal, you know, usually you have machines that will put bends in it, okay, and things like this. They'll have another machine that pops in all of these hexagonal cutouts. That's one way to do it. You can use a plasma machine that'll burn all this stuff out, or water jet cutter, and there's some other stuff that'll do it as well. All right, so here is the right side access panel. Nice and smooth. I'm not feeling any raw edges, so I'm going to review this eventually, but I'm liking what I see. Here is your little vent on the side. Going to allow fresh air to come in through here, and it's filtered. I usually like to see 2 of these. This is not going to give you the same airflow, but hey, you never know who actually designed this, whether it was somebody with just a manufacturing engineering degree, or somebody that also maybe had a mechanical engineering degree, or aerodynamic engineer, aerospace engineer that actually would take classes in heat transfer and airflow, right? So I might have taken a couple of those classes. All right, so this is interesting. What in the world? You know, if you watch the channel, we have barely ever bought any case on this channel that's cost more than $70. And so we're getting into, really I've been picking a lot of cases I like recently as we get a little more money monetized, whatever. Some of the Amazon show shit money allows me to buy some things. But that said, I have never seen this in here, so it's going to be interesting. The Sama Z3 does not have that. I don't really want to bust all this stuff open, but I will try and grab the instructions. I'm going to take the, like I said, I'll take the tempered glass off. User manual, alright. I don't know if you guys can see that. Probably not. So a lot of times I'll put a note, you know, best if viewed on 4K TV, because we are recording in 4K. 1 year a manufacturer warranty, alright. So you would expect that means, you know, if one of your connectors goes bad, you're covered, because the other stuff, you would have to step on it, drop it, do something else for it probably to break, and I doubt they cover shattered glass. I don't see anything in here about that that device until you get to the back. So this is a ARGB hub, all right? So yours truly is going to have to read up on this, and when we do the review, which, you know, could be weeks, months from now, I'll know what this is, all right? Right now, don't have a clue. But usually hubs, you know, stuff gets connected into it and it gets output to something else. So you have multiple connectors usually. You might have multiple connections out. This actually on this side almost looks like, interesting. I mean, it almost looks like an M2 slot, which is weird. So I don't really, honestly, I can't tell you how that gizmo works. So the light, alright, so our light in the back, it looks like it's a 3-pin. It does not actually come with the Molex, but it is plugged in. So based on that, I would say the fan in the back probably has a light. I've had bad luck sometimes with the 3 and 4s not having enough juice to run the fan and the light. So I usually use the MOLED, but in this case we don't have a MOLED, so hopefully everything's good. Okay, standard cables we got here, USB 3.0, that plugs in your motherboard. You have here a, this is probably HD audio, yeah. Motherboard, there's a spot for HD audio. And notice there's one little slot that's filled there. So you got to line that up. Same with USB 2.0 right here. Now these guys are, basically your case, the connectors for the front of the case. One is your HDD LED, power LED. Somewhere around here is the reset switch. There should be a reset switch. And then you have power LED right there. This was the power switch, sorry, I might have said power LED. Okay, reset switch is up here. So all this hub must feed into the front panel somehow. Now the other stuff we've got here, we've got the little gizmo to make your computer beep when you start it up. So you have to find that on your motherboard. Usually look at your documentation because sometimes it is right next to these guys. And if it's not, then good luck finding it. But that's another story. Cable ties in here, big plus. So the more you spend on these, the more good stuff you get, right? Got additional standoffs in here, so most likely this is, I'm going to say plumbed, fastened already for a micro ATX board. If you want to go ATX, you're going to have to pull those out. And then you've got all the screws in there, of course, to bolt down your motherboard. So, in case you're new to building, when you buy a motherboard, you will not get the screws needed to put it into the case, alright? So, in case you're surprised, I sometimes get questions on my YouTube channel like that. And, you know, we answer what we can answer. Those are the easy ones, though, for me. Alright, so I'm going to take this off. And now I'll probably back it up a little bit so you can see it. So they've got some, looks like reinforced, I'd say tape around the glass. So that's a good feature. It blends in with the case. And it's also maybe a little bit of dampening in there. So you got glass on metal. Hopefully makes for a gentler connection, I guess, when you tighten it down. Alright, so we're sitting on something. I know this thing's not that lopsided. Alright. Then let me back up. So this is very similar to the Samsung Z3. So if you watch that, you could probably stop right now. Now, it is taller than the Samsung. Looking at the width, they are the same width. So if you wanted a bigger mid-tower than the Samsung. Alright, so we ran out of recording time first time around, so I had to restart it. We're back. Alright, so as I was saying, the Zama Z3, a little shorter than this by maybe a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. Alright, so this would be a little bit bigger of a case. It is about the same height as the do-it-yourself PC in front of it. However, it is not as long by at least 1 inch. Okay, and putting it next to the Zama Z3, it's the same length. So a little bit more volume in here, and potentially, let me see here. So hard to see, but one thing I really like about this case, there is an actual slot up here to run your motherboard connector for the, CPU connector 4/8 or 4+8 if you have AMD X570 motherboard. There's a nice slot up here to run that through, okay, instead of running it through this gap around your motherboard and back out. There is a good gap up here. So that's one thing that, you know, I care about when I'm buying a case, because sometimes that motherboard sits right up top there and the cables just don't want to work for you. Alright, so obviously you can see the opening here. If you were to have a CPU cooler or you add it after the fact, this should allow you to add it afterwards and not have to take out your motherboard. Some cases things don't line up and you do have to take the motherboard out. Over here you can see access points to your different hard drives. Because of the way the slots are going, I think it said there's supposed to be 3 SATAs, so I'm not really sure how they're oriented. I'm going to have to look at the guide. Looking on the inside, probably have the ability to put 3 case fans in here. So you will have to pop the front off to do that. And they have a lot of slotted holes here. That's really nice. Should be easy to get those fans in. You probably don't need to bother with colored lights, because from the front you're not really going to see them. You would see them from this angle. So if you care, but I guess it all depends on how you orient your case on your desk or under your desk. So let's go ahead and see if I can pop that off. From underneath, usually put it on its side, and usually these things pop off. Sometimes you have to put them over the edge. There we go. Alright, so this one's got cables in it. And there you go, that's what it looks like. Okay, easy enough. I didn't break anything, thank God. A lot of cables in here, so just be careful, folks, when you are putting your fans in. And just be careful with this, because you can ruin your connectors if you're not careful. Alright, so I forgot to talk about this. The bottom is also got a filter on it. This one's not magnetic, but another nice feature. So this is going to get plenty of good airflow to it. I have said in other videos, glass is a insulator. So if it was a conductor, we'd get more airflow. Single pane glass, so you will get some heat that transfers, but not as much as you would if it was a conductor. So that's about it for the video.